Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, the Rambassador, Ed P.I. Henderson of Worldwide Rams and Ram Sports Talk Showcase. Anyway, everyone, I'm just coming today after being able to actually get some sleep, lay down, and let my emotions run, and come to you on a settled and calm day. Um, just wanted to touch bases of yesterday's game. I want to give hats off to the Dallas Cowboys, who was able to come in with a lot of fans and be victorious against the Los Angeles Rams, 22-10. Those of you who follow me on Facebook as well as Instagram, you all know that yesterday was a very emotional day for me. On April 23rd, 2022, I lost my father, who was a huge Dallas Cowboy fan. He was someone that I would speak with at least every weekend during football season, leading up to any games about the Cowboys or the Rams. And he was just adamant that the Cowboys was the best team in the world, was going to win the championship, go to the Super Bowl, and be victorious, even when their record was 5-12. Now, notice I said 5-12, but in any event, it was a bittersweet victory yesterday. I think my team lost, but I was able to be a winner on both sides because he was able to get this win over my team, and that he's up in heavens, looking down, smiling over me because his team won. I think he put his hands in that game a little bit yesterday in the beginning with a couple of a fumble and a block punt. But if you look at the mindset of the game, there's quite a few key factors and takeaways of this game that I will begin to address. But I do want to let all you guys out there know, and not that I'm just a diehard Rams fan, but I'm the type of person who's going to keep it 100. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to tell it like it is. Dallas Cowboys, you guys, you really didn't do anything yesterday. You guys were given two gifts early. Okay, you take away one run, explosive run away. Your run game was garbage, and also your passing game was not too great either. The Rams beat themselves yesterday with the inability to block. There was no established run game. The quarterback was under duress too many times. The offensive line was poor. You had another starter that was lost off the offensive line. So there's a lot of things that we can get into, but I'm going to stay to some of the particulars of this game. If you notice, we'll start right away with the offensive line. This offensive line was going to had a huge question mark on the side of it coming into this season, because we had two acquisitions to where we had our starting left tackle, Andrew Whitworth, shortly retired after the Super Bowl, and then we had Austin Corbett leave us to go elsewhere in free agency. Now, that was two key positions that we needed to fulfill, our right guard position as well as our left tackle. Now that we go through the semantics of everything, you get your starting lineup in. You get Brian Allen as your center. You got Coleman Shelton wins the right guard position. You have David Edwards at the left guard. You have Joseph Noteboom at left tackle, and then the other old guy on the right side of the line at tackle is Havenstein. So that was our day one lineup. But quickly, that went to pieces because we had Brian Allen, who went down at the center position, and they had to slide Coleman Shelton in and then slide another player at the right guard position, which was Alaric Jackson. So, being all said, we get Noteboom goes down, so we got Alaric Jackson starting at the left tackle, and Coleman is at the center, and then we stick in Evans. So now we have three individuals that's out. You got Shelton that's out. You have Edwards, who's going to be gone for a minute now. It looks like he has suffered his second concussion in the many weeks, and I don't think that he should have played yesterday, being that he said he wasn't feeling well on Thursday. But he was cleared by the medical team, and enough on that. And then you have a third string center, Jeremiah Cologne. Now, not to take nothing away from Jeremiah Cologne, this is a kid that's been with this organization the last 3 years, up and down on the practice squad. There's some upside to him, but I think this game is just a little bit too fast for him at that center position. It's just my take on it. After watching the game yesterday, sitting in the stadium with end zone view seats, you can see everything from the back of the play of what's not working and what's not. Look, the offensive line is to the bits right now. The Dallas Cowboys, no different than what the San Francisco 49ers did, no different than the Buffalo Bills did, no different than what Arizona tried to do, or what Atlanta was successful a couple of times doing, was penetrating the A-gaps. Everything else in between the center. This has shown to be the way to apply extreme pressure on not only the play action, but against the run also. We can't get our run game established at all because we got some kind of issue between McVay in the middle with Cam Akers on one side as well as Darrell Henderson on the other. We'll get back to the running backs itself, but back to the run game. The run game, it is not working for some reason. It's because we have no push up front whatsoever. None whatsoever. So until we are able to define a run game, the team's going to keep coming in and applying as much pressure on Stafford. Many people are crying that Stafford needs to go, that he's scared. Look, you show me anyone who can play quarterback without an offensive line, and I'll give you $1,000. You cannot do it, especially as a professional. It would never happen. You must have someone who can at least give you 2.5 seconds to set up the throw a ball, if even in a quick passing game. So this is some of the things, the areas that needs to be addressed immediately. Now, I just heard via tweet a while ago that Rob Haberstein had a closed-door meeting with the offensive linemen only and told them, hey, we need to figure this out. Whatever was going on in our mind, we need to get it out, and we need to address it and fix it now. Now, that's what a captain's supposed to do. And we need other players to partake in this same type of leadership to this team to where they find out what's bothering them. And then it was also stated that other linemen spoke out about things that irked them. So we don't know exactly what those conversations were, but I certainly like to know some of it to come to the light in the next couple of days, moving into the Sunday's matchup against the Carolina Panthers. So right now, the offensive line can't block, can't create penetration for the run, and can't keep our quarterback off from being under duress. So those are three avenues that's going to kill any offense at any level of football. So that needs to be fixed. Now, which moves me over to the run game by the running backs. For some reason, McVay wants to have a running back by committee. I don't understand why he likes to go get these running backs is below 500, just a little light under 200 pounds, and with speed. I mean, it's good when they hit a hole, but it's not good when you can't pass protect with them or run through tackles. Now, Cam Akers seems to have a wild hair in his behind or something because he just have not been running the ball like Cam Akers normally do. You know, you go back to the divisional playoff game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had 2 critical fumbles in that game that almost cost the Rams that game to let the Buccaneers get back in. Then he had a fumble in the Super Bowl. Then he had another fumble this year, excuse me, against Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, reaching out to get the ball over the goal line. So these fumbles are crucial. But then you look at Darrell Henderson. Here's a guy that's averaging almost 5 yards per carry. I think he's a little under 5 yards per every time he touched the ball for a carry. And Cam Akers was probably like 2 point something. Now, who's more than 2 explosive backs? You have to look at it. Daryl Henderson has way more speed and more power. Cam Akers is shifty with power, but he cannot break tackles like Henderson can, or run through tackles, I should say. So you have to put that on the way. Who's your more effective running back? And right now, according to the stats, Daryl Henderson is your back that you lean on moving forward. But right now, it doesn't appear that McVay is moving into the favor of Daryl Henderson. That's yet to be seen, but we all like to know what is going on with the run game. You have Kyron Williams, who can't stay healthy. He got hurt doing OTAs. Then he quickly come back and get hurt in the first game of the season, and he's out. I mean, so it's something about our backs that stays hurt. So you have Rager that you release. Now, what else do you have? You bring in the kid from Fresno State, Rivers. What does he have to offer? I mean, it's the same thing. But until you can address who your number one running back is and fix that offensive line, it's going to be a long season for the Rams this year. I hate to admit it. Hey, I'm a diehard fan, but I'm going to be the first to say it's going to be a very long season if we don't address that offensive line quickly and don't figure out who our number one back is. If one is not happy because he's not playing, do the best thing that most coaches would do. Give his outright release. Find a trade solution for him. You know, people have been talking about Kareem Hunt. But Kareem Hunt can come here. He can't do nothing about our offensive line. You know, so this is the things you want to do. Now, if you still want to get rid of Cam Akers and you want to seek for a trade, I know a couple of players will probably be better choices to go get at running back. You know, I don't think the Bears would do it, but I would like to go see Khalil Herbert. That's another shifty running back with power and speed. You know, so that's one back I would like to see. Or you can go over to. I was just thinking about this the other day, or yesterday, as a matter of fact. There's a running back that. I'll tell you what. Let me table that topic of running back trades, so I can recall the name. It'll come to me in a moment. Then we get to the other side of on offense, to the receivers. Now look, Cooper Kupp is a bad shut your mouth. He is a receiver that does everything in the receiving game. He blocks. He runs the ball. He can throw the ball. He can even catch the ball. But lastly, he is a technician route runner. So we have him. We trade away Robert Woods and sign Robinson. Where is Robinson? Now listen to this. I'm going to go to the website. I'm going to tell you right now, Robinson hasn't even had, I don't even think he has 75 yards receiving this season. In 5 games, I'll tell you right now, Robinson does not have 75 yards receiving. Those are high school stats. That's what you see at a high school. Matter of fact, I'm going to go a couple levels lower than that. Those are Pop Warner stats. 75 yards receiving. I don't even think he has 75. And I'm going to make it seem even more intake. I think he has less than 100 yards. So I don't want to make it sound too bad, but I'm going to tell you right now that I'm willing to bet you that Robinson does not have more than 100 yards receiving. Cooper Kupp has 527 receiving yards through 5 games. He has two games that he went under 100 yards, which no problem. He'll make those up. He's still yet to have had a 200-yard receiving game, but it's in the making. If he have anything like he did yesterday, be able to catch a ball and outrun one of the fastest defensive backs in the league for a touchdown, there's more to come. So Cooper Kupp right now has 49 receptions for 527 yards. Okay, and that's through 5 games. Robinson has, well, I guess I'm mistaken. Robinson has 12 receptions for 23 on 23 targets for 107 yards. 107 yards. I don't recall him catching that many passes, but okay, I forgot he did have a couple against Arizona. But yeah, so that's where he's at. And the third leading receiver on this team, listen, the third leading receiver on this team right now, this can't be correct. But they're saying it's Darrell Henderson. But they're missing out Higbee. So Higbee has 33 receptions with 290 yards receiving. So those are some of the things we would definitely have to look at, brothers and sisters out there, or I should say my family, is look at that. Here is a receiver. We let a productive receiver who can do everything, or actually did everything that Cooper Kupp is doing. We let him go to bring in someone else who can't even get off the line of scrimmage. I don't know what's up with Robinson. I had so much high expectation, so much to think of him to bring to this team. He hasn't shown nothing. That big body receiver frame that he had in Chicago and Jacksonville has not shown up here in Los Angeles. And we didn't give him a payday. So it's about time, whatever's the issue between him and Stafford, they need to work that out. And granted, I've seen Stafford have missed him a couple of times wide open. Is it because he doesn't trust him yet or what? But they need to get that fixed, because this is totally embarrassment to the passing game. No run game and no passing game, but to one receiver. So we have to speak. That has to speak more in volume of how Sean McVay gets this fixed. You got one more game, which is against the Carolina Panthers, before you move into the bye. We do not want to go into the bye with a 3-game slide. Have we had a 3-game slide before? Yes, we have. We saw it last season. We saw it back in 2018 when we went to the Super Bowl also. So those are things that can be addressed. But we also had something that was able to fix some of these problems. We had trade value in players. We had draft picks that we could trade. Now this team has depleted almost all their draft selections. So they have to do something. And the first thing they need to do is, this is my address. Now, if David Edwards is not going to be able to return next week as a starting guard, we're going to have some problems. You got Alabushi is a veteran offensive lineman. You have you just signed Matt Skura, who was a dominating center in Baltimore. I don't know what led up to his release. I don't know if it was injuries or what, but he's a pretty good, effective center who can open up holes in the middle. He did it his career while he was in Baltimore. He had 1,000-yard back and a quarterback, to say the least. So if that hasn't been one of the adjustments made, and I would leave a Larry Jackson anywhere on that offensive line, whether it's at the guard or tackle position. This kid stepped up last year when we lost Whitworth and Noteboom, and he had to play that left tackle position. He fared well. He is a kid that doesn't look like he has the tangibles to play all over that offensive line, but he actually does a great job when he does. He gets beat occasionally, but for the most part, I'd rather put my money on him. I will put Alabushi in there, a veteran, someone who understands and the mindset. Again, nothing against Jeremiah Cologne, but I think this game is a little bit too fast for him as a starter. I think he need to get the real game speed up and then assert him into the game. We have to figure out the pieces on that interior offensive line. We have to, because if you're not getting no movement up front, we're going to be sub 10 points every game. I'm just going to keep it 100. So we need everything clicking on all cylinders: run game, pass game, and special team. And you don't have to say anything about the defense as of yet, which I will get to. But I did want to have to focus on these critical elements of the game that needs to be addressed, needs to get fixed right away. Because if not, then again, it's going to be a long season. Now, we have 3 losses right now. This is something that this is the first time that Sean McVay had to even set face to this type of adversity. 3 losses early in the season. So, but what I will say is that 14-3 doesn't look half bad either, does it, everyone? It could happen. It can happen. We can run the table right after this. Go through Carolina, then 49ers, and then the rest of the schedule with Green Bay and Tampa Bay waiting in the later months. This team has the talent to do it. But right now, it's still in the deep freezer, trying to thaw out. And it just is the way I look at it at this point. Go to the defensive side of the ball. Look, I'm going to say this about the defense. The defense plays hard. The defense has kept us in the bulk of the games all season long, the ones that we have lost. But the defense needs to start stepping up a little bit more. And when I say this, it's creating more turnovers, getting more sacks. We had Aaron Donald get 2 sacks yesterday, 1 forced fumble of the quarterback. But he's still getting double and triple team. There's no reason why no other player on this defensive line cannot beat their matchup one-on-one. No way. And that's the one thing I do miss about Michael Brockers. Because Michael Brockers was able to beat one-on-ones when given the opportunity. Most of the time he was in there, he challenged, he was faced with double teams. So we need to bring in somebody. You got Ndamukong Suh who's sitting out there. But I don't think Ndamukong Suh was the same Ndamukong Suh he was 3 or 4 years ago. And that has to speak why Tampa Bay didn't resign him again this year. But we need somebody that's going to come in and just cause havoc, who's going to be so explosive, whether it's an edge rusher. I keep saying William Floyd. Excuse me. Well, we have Floyd. He's not having the season he had last year that addressed him to get that 1-year extension. He wants that big payday. He got to start stepping up. He got himself hurt a little bit yesterday, but at the same time, you got to, between him and Terrell Lewis, one of you two got to do something off that edge position. Because right now, you're not scaring any offenses right now. We got Tack McKinley. He's someone that you can play all over that defensive line. He has good size, strength, and speed. I don't understand why they don't give him more snaps at that edge position. And then Justin Holland. He's too timid for me. He's not, he does the basic fundamental things, but he's not that dog that you looking at an outside or linebacker or at that edge position. He don't have that dog instincts like we really want him to have had, like he had when he was at Oregon. He doesn't have it at the next level. And that's probably one of the reasons why the Broncos gave up on him so early in his career. He's been a good fit for the Rams. He brings a huge upside with speed and strength, but he's not that dog. He don't have that dog in him like Tack McKinley has. McKinley comes explosive off that edge. If I'm not mistaken, he ran a 4.5, 4.59, 4.58 at the 2019, 2018 NFL Combine. That kid was a beast. And he's strong, and he's put on a lot of muscle mass to his physique. So he is a dog, but I don't know what happened with his career. He got caught up in a few things. But here, you're in Los Angeles, given a second chance. Let that dog go bark a little bit more, because he's nice. He is nice when given the opportunity. The defensive backfield, you got Jalen Ramsey on one side. They're not going to throw to him. We already know this. So let Jalen be Dion at one point in the game until he is getting just brutally beaten, and put help over on the other side with whichever corner, whether it's going to be Kendricks, Rochelle, or Durant when he comes back, whoever on that other opposite side of Ramsey, cheat over, because that's where they tend to go with the quick slants, the quick ends, those type of routes, curl route. They go on to that side. You're not fooling with Jalen Ramsey because they already know what they're going to get, what to expect. 99% of the time, the ball thrown to his side. Either he's going to bat it down, or he's going to make a tackle for the catch right there, or he's going to pick six you. So we already know that. So we have to address those issues. Quit playing so soft. You got the DBs giving up 11 yards. You throwing 3-yard routes. It's going to turn to 6-7 yards every time they catch it because they're going to fall for it. We got to understand, or actually, the defense got to understand that they got to stop playing so soft. You have to challenge somewhere sometime. You have to. Our linebackers inside. Now, I love Bobby Wagner. Oh, I love him so. But Bobby Wagner's not the same Bobby Wagner before. Bobby Wagner seems to be playing straight up now. He's up high. He's getting caught in the blocks, not able to get in position. I'm going to bring this up. I mentioned earlier in this podcast where Tony Pollard broke a run for a long touchdown. And how that occurred, it was two reasons. When you see this, go look at it. You got Aaron Donald and Marquise Copeland both trying to figure out who's going where. And there was some confusion. And on that same exact play is when Tony Pollard busted for a touchdown. Now, if you look at it, they attacked the C and B gaps when Copeland was in there. The same thing that occurred against the 49ers with Jeff Wilson was the same thing occurred with Tony Pollard. Bobby Wagner went to penetrate the gap and overcompensated himself and was able to get caught up in a block by the backside lineman, and Bobby Wagner could not slide back to the B gap where Pollard cut into. The same thing with the 49er game, but it was on the right side of the ball where Jeff Wilson ran to the C, toward the C gap and cut back into the B gap, and Bobby Wagner got caught in the block and tried to reach out. If Bobby Wagner go back and see that film, he's going to be the first one to tell you, I got caught up again. I made that mistake. That was all on me. Because Aaron Donald yesterday couldn't even slide down fast enough to get his arm out to at least try to slow him down. And then our backside safeties, we got to be able to make them open field tackles. We can't get shook. We cannot get shook. We can't. We have to make those tackles. So these are some of the things, some of the takeaways from the game yesterday that led up to a defeat. And as I said, I'll take it to the grave with me right now. The Cowboys is not the team that they really think they are. They got a good defense, but their defense is not that good. The Rams gave them two gifts, and the Rams did not capitalize on their mistakes, on their gains of getting the ball in great field position and not able to put the ball in the end zone. So they need to take care of that. And if they don't, then it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a very long season. So McVay needs to fix the offensive line, and get Henderson going and Robinson going. Defensive side of the ball, Morris need to start pressing at the receiver spots with these corners that we have. A little bit more blitzing, and don't play as soft. The bend, don't break defense is good, but you're still giving up. You're wearing the defense down in the later stages of the game when the fans mostly are relying on them to make a stop so the offense can get to the ball and take it in for the win. So if we don't get this established soon, it's going to be a very long season, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining me today. This is your Rambassador, Ed P.I.I.I. Henderson of Worldwide Rams and Rams Zone Sports Talk Showcase. See you all again. Good luck to the Rams against the Carolina Panthers. And remember, whose house? Rams house. All right, people. Horns for life. Thank you.